Hello, good day. We are here to present to you our report about the mask market before, during, and current COVID 19 situation. We are group CC01-01, but before we start, I would like to introduce the members of our group. We have Mr. Dat, Miss Han, Mr. Chung, and of course myself, Miss Carmella. We would now like to formally start our presentation with a question. How often do you buy a box of face masks? Did you buy more boxes before COVID 19 began? Or you bought more boxes during its peak? Have you ever compared the price of face masks before to the current market now? First, we would like to share with you the brief history of COVID 19, where it started, how it started, and what was its cause and effect. The coronavirus pandemic, also known as COVID 19, was first identified from an outbreak in Wuhan, China, on December 2019. The country's attempt to contain the virus failed, which caused this to spread globally. The outbreak of this virus has infected 10% of the world's population and killed almost 2 million people around the world.
Now, let's proceed to talk about what it's like before and during the peak of COVID-19. When COVID-19 did not exist, people could go whenever or wherever they wanted without having their activity restricted. We all had the freedom to do whatever we wanted without worrying if the person next to us was sick or not. We didn't have to wear face masks everywhere we went. Children were able to go to school and have the time to play and talk with their friends. Business were stable since customers came back to them if they needed something more from them or not. Employees from big firms were able to communicate their ideas to their co-workers much easier and faster, without having to wait for their response online. Lives were very different before this pandemic happened. It altered a lot of things that we never thought could be altered. And when the outbreak started, a lot of things also started to change. The government imposed lockdown, which led to the closing of schools, limited supply and distribution of food for all, and some business closing down or decreasing the number of the employees. This sudden phenomenon also caused breakthrough stress to many people and affected their mental health. Lockdown measures had increased feelings of loneliness, isolation, restlessness, and anxiety as millions of people have been quickly forced to adapt to new reality and make drastic lifestyle change. It had an impact not only on people's mental health but also on their social health. Many of us weren't able to see our family and friends who live far away from us. Most of the people panicked and were clueless. The only thing they had in mind were not getting infected.
When people heard about the spread of COVID 19 from China and how this virus can be very deadly, it caused a great deal of panic and fear among the Vietnamese people. This behavior led to a commotion in grocery stores as well as pharmacies and hospitals. There have been several recorded behavioral responses to the COVID 19 epidemic. For example, buying and hoarding masks, using alcohol for disinfection, and eating instant foods. Following a presidential directive, the Ministry of Health decided to put in place a mandatory order that requires everyone to wear a mask whenever they go outside to prevent further spreading of this virus. At this time, people began to rush to buy medical masks. Because of their fear, some people hoarded a large number of masks for themselves. Since most of people have lost their jobs due to this unexpected situation, they thought of a way to earn money through hoarding and reselling masks to other people at a higher price.
So, first of all, about the demand for face masks before and the peak of COVID-19, look at the data sheet on the screen. This bar chart illustrates the proportion of respondents from selected countries saying they were medical masks due to the coronavirus outbreak. So, before COVID-19 happened, most of the Asian countries were already wearing masks. Japanese, for example, Japanese wear masks when feeling sick as a courtesy to stop any sneezes from landing on other people. Wearing masks in public has long been common practice in Vietnam with the aim to protect oneself from ultraviolet light and deflect vehicular exhausts in heavy traffic. When COVID-19 began, the demand for face masks soared to unprecedented levels. Many people would loot boxes of masks for their own sake. Some people only cared for themselves, as they were too greedy to limit what they buy to what they only need. Because of this, some governments imposed a limitation of 5 to 10 packs of face masks per person only. Although many people didn't like this idea, this was a good way to ensure that supply of masks is enough for everyone. As you can see from this column chart, which we have surveyed from some people, they said that they had used 2 to 3 masks on average every day when the pandemic had been rife. Next, I would like to mention 4 main expectations of demand. First one is gender conformity. Next one is favorite colors. The third one is purpose of customers, and the last one is the most crucial one is the price of product. So, the first pie chart shows us the average income of people during the pandemic. 75% of them received under 3 million Vietnam dong per month, while 15% of them got from 3 to 5 million in a month, and the other had over 5 million each month. The second one indicates the spending of masks each month on average. 45% of people paid from 50 to 100,000 dong for masks per month. At the time, about 50% of them spent under half of 100,000 VND for 1 month, and the other spent over 150,000 dong in the same period of time.
Now let's move to the supply. Before COVID-19, the supply for these markets was stable. Vietnam has mass manufacturers like LCC Vinatex, LCC Tanafa, and LCC Thiên Ân, and the production capacity of the company are shown in the table below. As you can see that Vinatex is one of the largest Vietnamese textile companies. To contribute to the country's battle against the virus, they have come up with a new brand product, a face mask with a fiber and yarn, as well as a weaving technique that makes it soft, breathable, and reusable too. Their product meet the health ministry standard, and they were able to sell them domestically. As of March 2020, the group said it has sold nearly 2.5 million antibacterial face masks and produced antibacterial fabric to supply to its member company. In Quảng Ngãi, 4 factories belong to Vinatex, including Vinatex Dung Quốc, Vinatex Nghĩa Hạnh, Vinatex Tư Nghĩa, and Vinatex Đức Phổ. Vinatex Nghĩa Hạnh Garment Factory currently has 430 workers with 6 production lines, producing high-end and ordinary masks. Vinatech supplied the market with approximately 50,000 masks of various types each day. Vinatech Jungwok garment factory with 12 sewing lines and about 650 workers produce about 100,000 masks of on kind per day. In particular, the Vinatech Tư Nghĩa and Vinatech Đức Phổ garment factory produce according to order received through the contact point of the Ministry of Industry and Trade. Amid the supply surge, locally produced face masks and still scarce across the country due to their distribution system. This is due to miscommunication among supplier and distributor. Despite all this, Vietnam is still able to meet the pupil demand across the country due to its distribution system. This is due to miscommunication among supplier and distributor. Despite of this, Vietnam was still able to meet the people demands. Of the last data, Vietnam has nearly exported 1.4 billion medical face masks to other countries. And I will show you the table below. As you can see that from the chart in the 2020, Vietnam export massive amount of face masks during the five months. This is due to the increasing rate of COVID case every day. The chart slowly decreased by the time of December because during that time, the government already implemented some rules and regulations for all to follow.
About the rise of mass before and pick up COVID-19, look at figure 2. It's about rise in elastic demand curve for face. Face was a normal good, so there was no change in the price of this product. It fluctuates around 35 to 40,000 Việt Nam đồng per box before COVID-19 occurred. As the outbreak started, people rushed to buy face masks. Since then, the price has also increased rapidly. The cost of 3-ply and 4-ply mask increased from 5 Việt Nam đồng per box per piece, equivalent to a box of 50 masks, rise from Việt Nam đồng 100,000 and an increase of Việt Nam đồng 200,000 for better face masks like KF94 and 95 mm3 with the rise of 35,000 Việt Nam đồng per piece. The rise of mass continues to rise through the months of February and March 2020. There are times when the rise of 4-ply and 5-ply must reach 300 to 500,000 per box. Despite of the unreasonable price for this common good, customers are still lining up and buying it. Its last product as a result of the lack of substitutes for face masks. This product is high in demand in the short run. Secondly, figure 3 is about increase in the demand for face masks. Face masks may reach an inelastic demand curve at this rate, with price increasing exponentially. So, in addition, the high in price is also dependent on the law of supply and demand, as illustrated in figure 3 below. Based on figure 2 and 3, famous price is expected to continue to rise, but quantity supply may not enough to meet demand in order to protect consumer rights and stabilize the market. It seemed necessary for the government to intervene by imposing a price ceiling or falling below the equilibrium price to prevent producers from rising price further. Uh, Finally, figure 4 with price control on famous, we can visualize what will happen if government implemented a maximum price for some time in the market. With the government intervention, the quantity demanded and supply will be QE at the equilibrium rise of QE with the rise demand check the requested quantity as in Q2. Therefore, it can create a surplus of demand and cause some problems. Famous price will continue rise to higher and more sub-levels with the paper government intervention, and this situation could lead to further panic and possible market failure. The government plays a crucial role in stabilizing the environment and providing people with the best options.
Despite the failure of the most powerful country in the world to stop COVID-19 first, the South Asian country of Vietnam did an excellent job in fighting the pandemic across the globe. By mobilizing the strength and participation of the whole political system and the entire community, the countries have been able to effectively make pandemic prevention an important priority for the country by preventing the spread from outside, zoning off area, treating disease effectively, as well as sacrificing immediate economic benefit in order to protect people life and health. Vietnam has responded well to the coronavirus.
To conclude our presentation today, when the government implemented a lockdown, there was mayhem in grocery stores, hospitals, and malls. People rushed to buy all the things that they need in a moment of panic and fear. Health officials in most nations, and especially Ministry of Health, have advised residents to not only keep distances to everyone, keep hygiene, not gather in large numbers, declare health, but also wear masks in public as necessary during the COVID-19 outbreak. As a result, all three of supply, demand, and price of masks raises dramatically, and it led to failure market and inelastic product. In response to COVID-19, Vietnam has responded with remarkable success, and while some of its success might be attributed to the unique context of the country, many of its lessons can be applied globally. And that's it for our presentation. Thank you for your attention.